Hello and welcome to Get in Tune today. I think I got a very interesting topic for us to talk about while I do some artwork and draw and talk about some things that I'm drawing. So let's begin. Let's start with the intro. All right, so welcome back. I already got some comments, and I will reach out to those in a second. Actually, let me do them now. So first is from Andre, I don't know how to say it, Palais. I'm sorry. Can we draw superheroes? Possibly. And Alex Palais says, "What's the local comic place in Yonkers?" The name of the comic shop in Yonkers, New York, is the Spider's Web. It's located at 887A Yonkers Avenue. It is across the street from the casino. And today when we draw, maybe we can do some superhero stuff. That's fine. What I wanted to talk today about was creative projects and artistic wellness or creative wellness. So for those who don't know, and I know there's different age groups that watch me from young to adult, what wellness is, it's an overall aspect of health, how you handle things physically, emotionally, socially, spiritually, could be intellectually, a few different things. And I'm actually trained. I've done a couple of seminars and stuff for classes I had to teach to high school teens about wellness and working wellness in. I got a question. Is that Noah there? Noah, the theme for today is creating projects and wellness. And I'm going to start off with wellness, then we're going to get into drawing. But what is wellness? And like I just said, it's aspects of different parts of your health. And I focused on creative wellness. Like it was a part of the, everything kind of connects, but it was more kind of a mental thing that could help with other aspects of your life. So when I worked with these high school students, what I did was we played, we did some projects and stuff, but we talked about how they can incorporate creativity into their life on a daily basis, if possible daily, to help with stress. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this today is because the quarantine by us is, I don't want to say it's over, but things are opening up where we're in a new phase, and people are able to start going outside, and people may be a little anxious or nervous to do that. I know sometimes I might feel that way. So going over with some kind of creativity to help remove your stress, your anxiety is something that we all need. And as a creative, I tend to do this through art. I also do it through cooking. Cooking is a creative way to do it. Even if it's getting a coloring book, whether you're an adult and you want the adult coloring books, or you go out and get a Mickey Mouse one or whatever, it doesn't matter. You spend some time coloring. Coloring is a very calming and relaxing thing to do. You're not really thinking, you're just kind of letting your mind go. So that could help with it. And I want you guys to think about what works for you. If it's writing, that's awesome. If it's cooking, baking, decorating, all that is great. If you could be sewing stuff, something creative, some kind of creative outlet really is important. I have a friend who's been on here. His name is Mr. Pop and Twist. He twists balloons. That's a creative outlet for him. I don't know if he uses it for his wellness. I've never asked him, but it is creative to try to figure out how to twist balloons to look like different characters, you know? So, you know, this is a good time to start thinking about doing something creative every day. It's one of the reasons I started the streams when we went into quarantine. I never went out and said, this is what I'm doing. What I ended up doing was just offering creative stuff that you guys can have twice a week if you're watching with me live, or you can go back and watch any of my videos anytime and still get some creativity in your life. So for me, I've always had it. It's art. You know, I've always drawn, I've always done something like that. But for me, it's art, you know, and drawing helps calm me down when I'm feeling angry, stressed, whatever. This is my outlet. I go and I draw. But that's really the main part of what I want to say about wellness. I want to get to art, and we'll come back to it while we're drawing. And, you know, one of the things I want to talk about is coming up with projects. And I'm in a different program today. I'm in a program called, what's it called? Clip Studio Paint. In the old days, it was known as Manga Studio. I don't like that pencil. I want to use, I think it's the rough pencil I like in here. Hold on, why is it tapering like that? Interesting. Let's go up to this one, see. I find it very interesting that this draws amazing when I'm not going live, and then when I go live, I get these angles here. So, hold on, sorry. So, let's brush density, texture. Let me see. Oh, that was all default, should be good. But why is it coming up like that? You see, I did a picture earlier today of that monkey right before we went on, and it's not giving me these rough edges here. There must be something turned on that I am not aware of. Let's lower the stabilization. Okay, I don't understand why that is happening. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to go into Photoshop. And there's another monkey I was drawing in Photoshop, but let me create a new document. I want to do that. Create. And we'll just draw in Photoshop today. Sometimes you got to do different stuff. You got to work with what it is. And that's one of the things, like, with wellness. This was a perfect example, although I'm unhappy that it came out this way because I really wanted to draw in Clip Studio today. But you can't control certain things. So if you can't control something, don't let it bother you. And if it does bother you, use something creative to what's the word I'm looking for? To help you relieve that stress. So we were asked to draw superheroes today. So what I'm going to do is I draw a lot of silly stuff, but right now I'm going to just draw kind of a regular superhero, right? One of the things, and I draw it in two parts. I start with the skull, and then I start with the jaw down at the bottom. All right? But if you just create a basic egg shape, and you want to go in and edit the facial features, that's fine. Next, what we got to do is we got to bring down the neck, and because they're heroic, they're going to have a thick neck. Let's see something here. I'm just doing a test of something. Okay. So, like last night, I had an issue where, and it's not doing it here now. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of the pecs. I like to draw in sections and then add the rib cage underneath, and then we're going to go to the stomach area. All right. And these are just guidelines for me right now. Things will get modified. And then I'm going to add in the waist. And I'm going to stop here for now. I'm going to stop at the waist for now because I would need to zoom out, and he's not going to fit completely on this page. So let me just shrink him down a bit so he will. And I like to draw again with shapes. So I'm going to do something that I don't usually like to do with my characters. It's what we call twinning in the industry, meaning that the pose is, it's basically the same on each side. So it doesn't. There's no real change in pose or anything. All right, and I'll do the lower half after. I'll do what I can right now. Okay, so I basically got this character right here, right? Now you got Spider-Man. Well, here's the thing, Andre. You could turn this into Spider-Man if you want to. You can turn this into any hero that you want. This is a basic pose of the human anatomy, just modified to something a little better than the average man. So now all it takes is drawing the costume on. So let me do this on another layer. So if you wanted Spider-Man, right, you're going to need to put in his eyes. And I like to go that way with it. All right. And right in the middle, this actually comes out over there, and this goes over here, and this. And then we're just going to come in. And we're going to, there, his boots. All right, now one of the things about Spider-Man that you want to know, and I'll show you in 1 second as I just kind of, all right, is right in the center, he's got his spider. And you can draw the spider however, he's had different styles of spiders. I like this kind of old school one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Now when we create these lines here that were part of his costume, right? When we're drawing them, and this is a little, there probably should be another one here and another one here. When we're drawing them, they actually go down. So don't draw them up. You see, so this is all I would do. So if his lines were in there like that, they would be always going down. Now, I know this looks like it's going to the side, but his arm is off to the side. So how would that look if he put his arm down? You got to think about. So that is how you build Spider-Man, right? Now, I'm going to turn that layer off, and I want to show you guys something. If I was to take this and I give him a cowl, we're going to make Batman here, right? Same body. Same thing, we're putting his eyes, his nose in there, right? Let's get his cape in. So you see what I'm doing here is I'm just creating using the same body. And let's get his utility belt on. And depending how you want to make the belt, I'll do pouches. All right. That. Okay. And obviously his cape would come down. So I did Batman off of that. You know, so really this could be any superhero character. You want it to be Superman, right? Let's put his S in there. So then let's give him what his cape would be. And I'm not going to go into everything, but there's his hair. But you see what I'm doing here, right? I created the generic body, and one of the things with the generic body, and by drawing it the way I do, I could change the angles, and because I'm breaking them up in sections, there's the pec area. Let's go into the rib cage, which would actually be kind of built into it there. And we're going to curve out the stomach area, right? So the rib cage actually would come like that. We're going to put it into the stomach area, and then we're going to put the waist in there. And we could... That's why keeping the shapes are important. You know, we can even change the direction of the head a bit. So now it's almost like he's kind of looking over here at us. His head is turned. So you see, this is what we do when we create superheroes. Same thing goes for a female. You just draw a female body. All right. Now, excuse me, I needed a sip of water. All right. Now, one of the things I wanted to also discuss is creating projects and having projects to go to help with your wellness. If you give yourself a schedule and say, hey, look, I want to create a comic book, or I want to create a children's book, or I just want to draw a picture, one picture every day. You know, whether it's in pencil, whether it's in ink, whether it's in whatever. And you say, I have this project. Every day I'm going to finish it by the end of the week, and then give yourself a new project. And you're going to give yourself 1 hour a day. That's all you have. You know, you just say 1 hour a day, I'm going to work on this. Well, that's going to help in your wellness if you're not creating something that is too much for you to take on right now. So having a creative outlet like cooking, you can say every day I'm going to cook dinner, and you plan out the meals for the week so you can have the creativity of, okay, you know what? I'm going to take something basic like chicken, and chicken could be seasoned in so many ways. And you can say, I'm making chicken for the next 3 nights. And you could either plan it out, or you can just every day before just say, what spices do I have in my cabinet? And do I want to have it like a Mexican flair or an Italian flair or whatever, you know, just use those type of spices, you know, and get creative that way. But having projects, whether it's for wellness or not, could be very important for you. It helps keep you, and here's some of the things with what projects will do for you. Number one, okay, it gives you an outlet, right? Number two, you're creating, and I'm a terrible speller, I think it's DIS, or is it DES? Discipline. Okay. I'm just going with dis right there because I don't remember how to spell discipline. Sorry, I'm a terrible speller. And once you develop discipline, it moves over into other things in your life. So you get that creative outlet, you get that discipline. It helps you become a stronger individual, right? It helps balance your mind, everything. So when I had that picture of this monkey drawing, this is a project I gave to myself. I'm writing a children's book. I wrote a children's book. It's actually on my iPhone next to me. And it's about a monkey who likes to draw. So it took me time to develop the look of the monkey. And I kind of came up with something like this. But now this project is how I go and clear my head. I'm not, when I do it, I'm not focusing on anything about, it's a monkey drawing. So now in my head, I already know about drawing. So for me, this isn't something I got to stress out about. I just got to draw a picture of a monkey drawing, or maybe holding up artwork. And I know poses that I sit in to draw, from being a child to being an adult. So I have all this stuff I can draw from. So it's not stressing me out. And that's the important thing. You want something that's not going to stress you out. If you're trying to learn something, this is great to do. Like, let's say you're learning to draw. A half hour before you go to bed, take out your drawing pad and just sketch in there. If you spend 3 hours drawing and practicing, don't focus on anything. Just kind of let it go and clear your head. And those things that you understand the concepts to, but weren't getting, 3 or 4 hours ago or 2 days ago or whatever, will eventually be like, oh my God, I know what I'm doing, because you're not stressing about it. You're just kind of sketching and taking the evening to relax. You're not trying to say, hey, I want to focus on building a, I can't think of the word right now. Oh, like, let's say you're working on proportion. You're not focusing on drawing proportion. You're just sketching and doodling, and eventually you're not thinking of what's going on, and you become, you understand, and it just clicks, and you eventually become someone who knows and what they're doing. So that's an important thing to have for wellness. And these projects are great to help with wellness. I talk a lot about cooking because I enjoy cooking. It's my other creative outlet. I want the foot like that. And so I like to get creative. I don't like to usually plan out my meals. I just say, tonight I'm doing that. I have this type of meat, and that's what I'm cooking. And I'll figure out the flavor later. All right. And this tail would be right here. Sorry, I'm just looking at stuff right now. You guys, if you have any questions who are watching, please feel free to ask. Oh. He's looking over there. I don't like his eyes in that position there, so. So now he's looking down. And if you tuned in last night to my stream that I did, you'll know this monkey that I'm creating I had a lot of trouble until I went back to basics and basically took the original head of Mickey Mouse. You know, if you were watching me draw, I took a circle and I put in my guidelines and over here, and I added kind of like the curve that Mickey has, but instead of having a circle nose, I have a triangular nose here, right? I'm giving him the face mask. That happens, and I'll just keep giving him the smile. And let's open his mouth a bit. And I'm giving him the mask there, and I'm putting in the eyes. And if I didn't give him a triangular nose, this could be Mickey Mouse, right? But what did I do? I gave him his ears down here and gave him a little kind of furry hair. And when you look at Mickey Mouse in design, right, his body kind of looks like this, and up here is his pants, right? So I kind of just took that shape and left his body that way. And then added the limbs to look like monkey limbs, you know? And this tail would be coming out over here. Are you going to share, Alex is asking, are you going to share the children's book to a shop? I don't know if it's going to be in stores. I'm doing what we call self-publishing, which means I'm paying the money to have it printed. But I'm going to go through websites like Amazon, and you know, so it could be downloadable, or you can buy a printed copy. And usually, if you buy a printed copy from Amazon, I think it takes like 3 to 4 weeks to get. But if you buy a digital download of it, it'll be instant, and you can read it on your phone, your iPad. The age group, by the way, is of this children's book. It's a picture book, meaning it's more picture than words. The words are very simplistic. It's a rhyming book, but it has, but it's great for pre-K to be read to, and I'd say up to second grade reading level for those who are just learning to read. You know, I know you learn to read in pre-K and kindergarten and first grade and second grade and stuff, but I think third grade reading, like for the reading level, it's a little young for it. I think up to second grade. So that's kind of my target audience with that. But if a store wants to carry it, I'll be happy to. I will be reaching out to certain stores. Some, you know, the bigger stores like Barnes and Nobles, that's a whole other way to get it in there. But I know people who own like independent bookstores and smaller stores, and I'll reach out to those people that I know and see if they're willing to carry it and see how it does, you know, in there. I don't think there's anything local in Westchester that I know of that has like independent bookstores. It's going to be more going up into like Putnam Dutchess County, New York City, out in Long Island, those types of areas. But it will be printed and collected. All right. Let me remove the superhero. Let's do that. So lately, all I've been doing, and I'll show you really quick. Hold on. Let me get it over here. Where's my mouse? There it is. I know I'm drawing strictly on the computer right now, but I do a lot of designs, and here's like one of, whoops, the fan's blowing, one of my final designs of that monkey, you know? So I do a lot of sketches. I'll show you how he looked in some other ways, and he doesn't always have to be drawing, you know? But this was a version I did. I didn't like that when I finally broke it down. There's some pages. So here's another version of a monkey. I like it, but I didn't think it would work for this. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to pull out here? Here are some different monkeys that I did. Played around with. And you notice I'm working on paper here. I don't waste a lot of time on the computer. Pencil and paper always feels better to me. And when I settled on this monkey, I don't want to say I settled on him, but when I drew this monkey right down at the bottom here, I'm like, okay, I have something. So I'm gonna look at that. And then I started playing with different looks, like there's just a pose I did. Whoops. Here's something I did. The monkey, the top monkey, isn't my best version. It was just still a little sketch. But see, I played with different head looks here. Noah, I'm not ready to release the name of the book yet because it's not ready, but I will soon release it. Probably, if I can get to where I want to be by the end of June, first or second week of July, that's when I'll announce it. All right. But it is a rhyming book about a monkey who draws. So it's very fun. And the teacher and me actually wrote a lesson plan around it. So, you know, if teachers end up buying the book, I can also sell them the lesson plan, and you could use this in a classroom to teach some drawing skills and creativity and imagination while you're while the book, after the book has been read to you. So, you know, a lot of different fun stuff there. So let's get back to the drawing. Whoops, hit the wrong button there. Come on. I want to get that full screen. There we go. So, what am I going to draw next is the question. Well, like I said, I've been doing a lot of monkeys. I don't want to do a monkey right now, but I'm doing animals. So at the end of the book, it's a bunch of animals getting together and drawing. So I'm thinking of when I create, like, let's say a little tiger, right? Or a little lion. Oh, excuse me. I'm putting in the... I got to make sure the style stays the same. So if I was to put the monkey in, I want to kind of look at how I did that monkey to make sure that these characters look like they belong together. And I want it to be kind of kid-like too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually give it kind of a bigger nose, you know, because kids don't always have everything in proportion. They're still growing. So maybe he's going to have bigger ears. So I'm going to make this a lion cub. So with a lion cub, they don't have hair. So I'm going to, you know, they don't have their giant mane. But what I would do is give it a little bit of hair on top. Maybe I'll give them a neck because they'll be taller. Do the body the exact same way. Now I like this as a lion that I drew, but I feel I want him to be smaller and cuter. You know, I don't think he's a good lion for this story. But I will always finish it. So what do I have to do? Well, I got to think about how I thought about that monkey. So I'm going to make it more of a circle. I'm going to make the snout, instead of being so big, a little smaller. And let's, you know, we can give it a big or small nose. Maybe let's do a small nose. Let's see how a small nose works on it. Right? And I'm thinking just like if I was to draw a cat. So maybe I'll rough up the sides here. And I'm going to give him... I'll give him big eyes. some messed up hair, and his ears will go kind of be big, and I know right now it kind of looks like a bear, right, with a very tiny nose. And then I'm going to give him a even tinier body, but I'm going to give him big feet. Maybe we'll give him a little snaggletooth. I should really look up pictures of lions before I make any real decisions on him, you know? All right, let's do another superhero. I'm not as sure if this is going to be an hour video. I think I may end a little early today. We'll probably get another 10 minutes or so. What if I wanted to do like a humorous hero? So I'm going to kind of draw and think about a head shape. And I kind of like this, I don't know, what would this be? Like some kind of squash or something. And I'm going to use circles for the eyes. I'm looking back. And we're going to put him in a mask too. Because superheroes wear masks. Some of them. I think for his nose, I'm going to give him something a little small. And I'm going to give him a smile. And maybe I'll even bring his chin in a bit. And his ear, and we'll give him some good hair. And let's give him some nice teeth that can shine. And his body is going to kind of be this large, almost circular type, so he kind of looks really big and muscular. I'm even going to give him, make it a little smaller, that's his waist. I'm going to use straight legs. And I think he'll wear kind of these little booties type of and he'll have his arms. And I will say next week we're going to talk about public domain characters, and we're going to draw public domain heroes, because the person who I'm going to interview Tuesday night, both on YouTube and on my Facebook page at the same time, is a man named Jay Piscopo. And Jay Piscopo draws a lot of, draws all public domain characters. And what public domain is that there's means they don't have copyrights, meaning anyone can use them. And a lot of things from mythology and fairy tales and children's books are public domain, which means you could use them. So if you wanted to do a Cinderella story, you could do Cinderella. You can't do Disney's Cinderella, but you could do Cinderella. You know? And let's see his underwear there. And we'll just give him a lightning bolt, because that's the generic. I don't know what to give my superhero. You know? Wait, right? No, whoops, totally screwed that up. The thumb would be up here, and then this. So I like to draw fun and silly heroes like that, but there's no reason you can't draw superheroes, that you like the same way. Here, look, I start with this. I start with the same style body, and I'm going to make this guy kind of look like he's running. This arm is forward, and the other arm is back, right? And now it's just the mask we put on him, right? And this could be the Flash. Same thing, lightning bolt. You see? So you can still do characters that you like, even silly. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up in a moment. Let me come back to here. I just kind of want to remember a few things. Number one, with drawing, I've gone over stuff with you all the time. It's all about shapes. It's all about keeping things simple and building up from there, especially if you want detail. And when I draw, that's what you see. Number two, I talked about wellness today and what wellness is and why is it important. And I think with getting ready for a new school year to start in September, I know this one hasn't officially ended yet, but it's getting close to it. I know with the school year, and people who haven't been able to be out with their friends and seeing things, and who knows what the summer brings. I know we're opening up, but still people might be a little shy to do stuff. Doing this will really, having some kind of outlet will help relieve any of the stress and anxiety you feel. And again, it doesn't have to be drawing. Could be painting, could be writing, could be cooking, could be, I don't know, whatever, working with clay, whatever you find creative. Drawing a half hour before bed in a sketchbook or on paper or whatever, and just use it kind of as a doodle time, not a time to focus on anything, because you're trying to wind down. You'll eventually get in your head what the stuff that you've been trying to do, but you're not thinking about it, so it becomes more relaxation. Coloring could be relaxing at the end of the day too. Think about that. Creating projects. Some people to do this wellness need projects. I don't. I draw just whenever I feel I need to, which is basically all the time. But it helps relax me. I'll be honest. Drawing's my business. Sometimes I do stress out over a drawing, but I try not to. When I work with things that I'm very familiar with, I almost never stress out about my work. So and there is a time when I separate work drawing from relaxation drawing, and the relaxation drawings is what gets me, what relaxes me and keeps my mind clear. When I'm working and someone's paying me to do a drawing for them, now I gotta worry about a lot of stuff, making sure that it looks good. Otherwise, because it's not just for me, it's going out to the public, it's going out to lots of stuff, and that can cause stress. So even though I have to do it and I have to do the best job I can, when I'm done with it or before I even start, sometimes I do just a little drawing for myself, and that's a relaxation to help remove the stress that I'm about to deal with or that I have dealt with. Also the projects will help create discipline, and with discipline that can transfer over throughout other parts of your life. And if you're someone who has problems with scheduling and doing stuff on time, creating a project and giving yourself a deadline, saying you're going to get it, will help train you to start meeting your deadlines. That's number one. Number two, because you are meeting your deadlines, you'll feel better, and that's part of the mental wellness. And when you mentally feel good, you physically feel good as well. So that goes into physical wellness too. So a lot of stuff crosses over, and it's very important to have. And it doesn't matter to me the age that you are working on these. You could be 5 years old, you could be 500 years old. You know, putting these practices into your life on a regular basis is just useful to everybody. And there are people out there who don't like art. That's fine. I've never forced what I like onto anybody. You know, there are people who like sports and will play something like, we'll play like fantasy football, let's say, right? Fantasy football is a kind of a creative outlet. You know, you're picking your players, you're creating this team, and you have to pay attention to what's going on to know if you're trading or what are you doing with the team, right? Same thing if you played a tabletop board game like Dungeons and Dragons. If you're not into the fantasy, you can find Star Wars if you're into it. If you like horror, there's horror. If there's a genre, if there's a genre out there, there's a role playing game for it. And then what you're doing is it's collaborative storytelling. You sit around the table with your friends, or in this case on the computer because people aren't hanging out still yet like that. But you sit around the table, and basically there's one person who guides the story and everybody else has to interact. So you're playing a character, and when you play that character, you have to act or you don't have to do the voices and whatever, but you can if you want. But you then all of a sudden become, how does this character going to act? It could be totally different than your personality. And it's just a way to imagine. It's like if you were acting in school, if you were in a play, it's just using your imagination. And one of the things that we need in our lives too is social wellness. Social wellness is being able to interact with friends and being able to, what's the way I want to say? It's just interacting with everyday people, but you're doing it in a healthy way where you're not feeling the anxiety or whatever. And playing games like these tabletop games cause social interaction. When you play, and traditionally when you play a game like D&D, and I just use that because that's the most famous one, you are a character. So you got imagination right there. You're playing with friends. There's social skills. That's socialization. When you are, if you really get into it, reading becomes a big part of it. Sometimes math, depending on how you're playing. So there's all these great things that come from these games, but the social interaction, the imaginative play, all that stuff comes into creativity. And that's what creative outlets are. You just having a chance to be creative. So if you play once a week and you get together with your friends, that's your one day to get that stress or whatever you're feeling out and just totally play a game as a character and be someone, who could be different from you, Anyway, that's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my drawings and the talks that I'm doing today. Next week, like I said, I'll be interviewing on Tuesday night. Jay Piscopo does a lot of public domain, so we'll probably talk about public domain stuff like mythology, characters like Sherlock Holmes, who's now in the public domain, and things like that. So all next week is on public domain art and characters that you can use and tell stories with. Excuse me. So yeah, that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I will see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye.